In its previous generation, Jeep's biggest model, the Grand Cherokee, was also for a while its biggest seller. So if big is clearly better, then why not go even bigger? This is the all-new Jeep Grand Cherokee L, and with about 200mm added into its length, the 7-slot grille can finally compete with its 7-seat rivals. 3 variants are on offer, starting from the entry-level Night Eagle priced at about $82,000, while the Limited is positioned in the middle of the range from around $89,000. But at the top of the pack, the Summit Reserve brings a new level of equipment and comfort to the Grand Cherokee family for a little over $115,000. Included in that price is a plush leather interior with quilted stitching, digital instrument cluster, digital rear view mirror, big central information touchscreen, heating and ventilation for the front and second row seats, 12 USB sockets scattered about the cabin, and of course there's those 2 extra seats in the back. With a little more cash still, you can have a head-up display, massive sunroof, and even a night vision camera. Now, I've already spent plenty of time in this car on road, and I can tell you this engine is smooth, the cabin is quiet, and it'll confidently eat up plenty of kilometers of cruising, just like all of its rivals. So let's focus on what Jeep says its rivals can't do. This is a Jeep. And to earn that 7-slot grille at the front, it has to be able to do something that most other mortal cars cannot. And that is pretty serious off-road ability. So I'm hitting some of the most gnarly tracks I've ever encountered to see if it really does deserve the reputation most other Jeeps have had. And it's doing it in a number of different ways. First of all, technologically, this car is spec'd up to the hilt. This is the Summit, which means it gets the maximum amount of trail-rated equipment. Quadra Track 1, Quadra Drive 2, the same 8-speed automatic transmission, but this one gets an incredible 2-speed transfer box, which means you get 2 low-range speeds for incredible climbing power. One of my main concerns with this car is it's got that Pentastar 3.6 litre V6. Now, it goes up against some diesel competitors with huge amounts of turbo torque. But when you put it through that low range reduction, it's got tons of grip and torque. And because we're in the Summit, it also gets air suspension. Really good on-road, but when you get off-road, it gives you up to 272mm of ground clearance. And as you can hear, I'm needing every millimetre of that to go through these trails that are quite overgrown, and there's rocks everywhere, some of them hidden. It really does give you a little bit more confidence to go further off-road. But the lovely thing about this car is there's a good blend of luxury and the off-road ruggedness. It's still the Grand Cherokee L, so I'm still in this lovely luxurious interior. I'm getting thrown around a little bit on this particular surface, but you still have all those luxury and comfort items, cooled seats, massage function, particularly good for a long day on the trail. And the visibility is excellent. I do have a couple of reservations. One is important things like head-up display is optional. You can get that in a package. Sunroof, okay, you can understand why that's optional. But I keep coming back to that engine. I feel like up against some diesels, this probably doesn't have quite as much grunt as I would like. And especially as this car is available with the iconic Hemi V8 in the US. Currently there's no plans to bring that to Australia. But ultimately down the line, there is a plug-in hybrid of the non-L version of the Grand Cherokee. And that'll bring extra electric torque and hopefully a little bit more off-road ability. And then there's the price. This car, the Summit, is on offer for about $115,000. It's not often in Jeep's history one of its SUVs have gone over the magic $100,000 mark. The last one to do that was the Grand Cherokee Trackhawk. Is it worth it? Well, there is a huge amount of equipment in this car. But if you didn't want to spend quite that amount of cash, there's the Limited, the mid-range version, for about $87,000. That doesn't get the air suspension, it doesn't get the 2-speed transfer box, and it misses out on a few other bits and pieces. But the whole day today, we've had a fleet of Limiteds with us. And you know what? they've gone everywhere that this car has. So I think it's fairly safe to say that this Jeep deserves the trail-rated reputation that so many other great off-road vehicles have had. Combined with a really serious amount of kit, no matter which version you go for, and a new level of luxury for this particular brand, the Grand Cherokee has never looked so strong. And of course this car is now rolling on an altogether new platform. Jeep says around about 96 to 97% of this car is all new, so there's nothing really that remains from the old version. But there's still a familiarity, it still feels in many ways like the Grand Cherokee. And all the time, it's easy to forget that there's all that extra space at the back. This is a true 7-seater. The extra 200 millimeters in length don't seem to compromise the breakover angle too much. This car is absolutely amazing. It is going everywhere and doing anything I ask of it, which for a coward like me is still quite a lot. In these beautiful surroundings, classic Australian outback and bushland, this car actually spent some time in exactly these environments under development. Maybe that's why it's handling some really quite ambitious off-road challenges with apparent ease. I'm really impressed with this car, more so than I was expecting to be. And I wonder if that's just because there's a little bit of Aussie in its DNA.